Namaskar. A theme through these videos is that India is growing more unequal. Good jobs are hard to find, especially for the middle and lower middle classes. Many more workers are going back to low-paying jobs in agriculture, and agricultural wages have not grown much over the years. In contrast, the upper middle class and the very rich are doing well for the most part. And that's what's represented by this photograph, which I recognize as a cliche of high-rises in Mumbai set against the slums. However, the skewed distribution of income hurts the economy's ability to grow because we have lower consumption as a result of income being skewed towards the rich. Remember, the poor consume more out of their income. And more indirectly, when the lower half is doing badly, and has to contend with a lower and lower share of income, political conflict is bound to rise as frustrated people take to the streets. A couple of facts from Pai and Vatt's Indus Report 2023 are illuminating. Only 1% of Indians pay income tax. 1% of Indians take 45% of flights in this country. We have seen charts in earlier videos showing flourishing passenger car sales, which have gone above their pre-pandemic levels, while two-wheeler sales, which typically go to the middle and lower middle classes, are yet to reach their pre-pandemic levels. Here are some more ways to see the alarming rise in inequality. This slide is from a working paper by Bharti, Chansel, Piketty, and Somanchi. Now, what you see here is amongst the countries depicted, the share of income going to the 1% top earners in India is 22.6%. And this is the highest in a group which includes countries like South Africa and Brazil that are considered to be grossly unequal. Remember, South Africa had apartheid, where a significant part of the population was treated as second class. The share going to the top 1% in India has been growing steadily over the last few decades. It's not a recent phenomenon, but it is at very high levels. The top 10% get 57.7% of income. So think of the top 10% as the upper middle class. And what we see is relative to the other countries in this group, the upper middle class is getting a lot. In fact, it's the second highest in this group, only next to South Africa. The growth of entrepreneurial wealth is undoubtedly a good thing when entrepreneurs create value for society. We've seen a number of those already. We saw the example of Mustafa, who created a product which was in high demand, which is fresh idli batter for households initially in Bangalore. And certainly, he flourished on the back of creating value. But when the source of wealth comes from proximity to the government, and influence over government rules, regulations, even government auctions, it becomes much more troubling. A number of commentators have suggested that Indian billionaires seem to be disproportionately in industries like construction, finance, mining, and infrastructure, where the government is much more present. And as a result, a lot more likely to be influenced. On the other hand, we also have billionaires coming from the software industry, where government presence is much more limited. And these billionaires are much more likely to have made their wealth through their sheer merit. The share of wealth of Indian billionaires, as collected by Forbes magazine, has been increasing steadily, as this chart from Bharti et al. Shows, and is near an all-time high reached just before the global financial crisis. So it really reached a high up here. But after collapsing since then, it started moving up again and is pretty much almost at the levels it reached when wealth was clearly highly inflated before the global financial crisis. So we're back up to similar levels. Another list created by Haruns has the share of India's wealth accounted for by those with wealth over 1,000 crores. And that too has been increasing steadily over the last few years. So why should we care? The problem with concentration of wealth in a few hands, no matter how capable the entrepreneurs are, is that they invariably have an undue influence over government policy, one that ensures that competition is not fair. And that tends to push the country towards crony capitalism. The remedy towards a tendency towards crony capitalism is to take a number of steps, including having an active and unbiased competition commission, which examines acquisitions to see that there is no undue concentration of power. It also implies keeping the economy open to entry by small and medium firms domestically and also by foreign firms so that, again, the competitive landscape is free and flourishing. And of course, it entails government policies that constantly make it easier for small and medium enterprises to grow large and prove worthy competitors to the large incumbents. This is a challenge for the next government. And it's also important that we succeed at this, for it will strengthen our democracy also.